up, everybody? Welcome to the celebration.
What up, everybody? Welcome to Back to the City Minneapolis Music Conversation. I'm your host, Simon Calder, and right now we're with Sean Tillman, aka Har Mar Superstar. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you.
I'm very excited indeed to have you here. I saw you at Reading Festival back in England, being a Brit, of course.
Yeah.
Back in, would that have been, what was the first year you played there? 2000?
It might have been 2003.
That would have been, I think, 2 years after. The first time I saw The Strokes was also at Reading Festival.
Oh, yeah.
They got moved from the, they have the small stage there.
Yeah.
They had got moved up. I got to see The Strokes and Eels, so I thought I was going to have to make a choice between the two.
Oh, no.
So we're going to play a little game now.
Okay.
I'm going to tell Sean good things about himself.
Okay.
To quote a song of this. In fact, we're going to play lots of games.
Okay,
because
cool.
I've adapted the format of the episode slightly, given how great a job you did. This is me telling you good things about yourself. With the Nocturnal Emotions podcast.
Oh, well, thanks.
So one of the games, the first game that we're going to play, is called The Morning After.
Okay.
Because, can you explain what's the premise of Nocturnal Emotions?
Okay, we're gonna play a little game now. Tell me real good things about myself.
The whole show was, it was a podcast that was, it was just based on conversations. It was basically a lazy construct, so I wouldn't have to do any research. It was ever required to happen, so I was just sort of get somebody into the room and see where it goes, and then just get as done as possible. We play some games like Let Me Ruin Your Favorite Song.
Yes.
Where we take a popular pop song or something that you know lyrically, and I can just go in and kind of systematically deconstruct the lyrics and make them the dumbest thing that you've ever heard.
Yeah, in episode, and I remember in episode 1, for example, you do this to your friend Macaulay Culkin's song.
Yeah.
A song that he likes.
Yeah.
Where Is My Mind?
Oh, yeah.
And so to give a sense, if people haven't checked out the podcast, first of all, they should.
Yeah.
But secondly, an example of what the kind of literalizing that you're doing as you're analyzing Macaulay Culkin's favorite song. Try this trick and spin it.
Yeah.
Okay? So you're saying maybe someone's trying a kind of handstand or some kind of trick, but then your head will collapse, and there's nothing in it, and then you ask yourself, where is my mind? As you were saying, that all seems very implausible. So we've got a sense of an aspect of what the podcast involved.
Yeah.
You say on the one hand it was a lazy construct. I don't believe it. On the other hand, 60 episodes. One coming out every week.
Yeah.
For a lot of this period, you're touring.
Yeah.
And we'll get a sense of what that period of your life was like by playing this game.
Okay.
The podcast was called Nocturnal Emotions. This game is The Morning After.
Okay.
Where we see whether Sean can remember which of his guests said these particular things.
Oh my God. Okay.
So,
Well, I'll see if I remember any of that year.
So number one.
Okay.
He's a jazz wizard, and his mouth is 1,000 instruments.
Oh my God. Oh, okay. I know. I think we're talking about Bobby McFerrin.
You are.
And Julian Casablancas.
Exactly.
Episode?
Yeah. The spirit of Bobby McFerrin is watching you and Julia.
Yeah.
and how so? How was that?
I think we did that episode in in the office next door to Cult Records, which they put out my last 2 albums, which is Julian's label.
Absolutely.
The lady who kind of ran the whole floor of the building in New York was Bobby McFerrin's manager. That's right? I don't remember if that's the...
That's my recollection.
All right, there we go.
For me, it is actually The Morning After. It really is The Morning After.
Yeah.
Because I listened to it yesterday.
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
Easier. Headstand.
I'm out of bed before I normally would be.
Okay, so you've got one.
Okay.
You got it right.
All right.
Yeah. In that conversation, Julian sang to you, "You have crafted a diamond." I don't know whether it was a particular song or that was off the cuff, but you had. And of course, he was referring to Bye Bye 17, which was coming out that week.
Oh yeah, that was that week.
You timed it very well.
Yeah.
You timed the conversation with Lizzo, who is a humble backing vocalist in your band, to come out the same week that Lizzo Bangers came out. But I don't want to give any more guests away. We'll get the answers. We'll work out who was on the show through playing the game.
All right.
I've done plenty of embarrassing things. I just don't embarrass. I've made more people embarrassed for me.
Ooh. I mean, that sounds like something I would say.
So it's a close friend. It's
Okay.
a close friend of yours. Someone that you have a lot in common
Green?
with. That was a good guess.
It was not Adam. It wasn't Mac.
It was Mac.
It was Mac.
Right back
Okay,
on
there we go.
episode number 1.
Okay,
When-
because I recorded those two on the same day. Those were my
Oh,
first
really?
two episodes. We did both
Were they
of
in the
those at
same
Mac's.
place? Oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
I could hear a bit of Adam Green
Yeah.
in the background.
Yeah.
As you
Shuffling
were
around.
referring to Kurt Cobain, the hacker. There was
There was
'cause-
he was working on a painting of Kurt Cobain as a hacker in the background
Yeah.
while we were doing this interview.
And,
yeah.
and the series began and ended, didn't it, with you and Mac, with you
Yeah.
and Macaulay Culkin.
Exactly.
And at the beginning, he's in this art gallery where there would be parties that would involve everything from, first of all, his mixtapes.
Yeah, he had a
iTunes type mixtape.
a monthly night at the Poisson Rouge in New York called
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin's iPod.
Yeah.
And then just play his iPod on random and then just sort of wander around and drink with people.
When they weren't
Yeah.
smacking each other in the face playing this game,
Yeah.
which became legendary. And then by the end, he'd moved to Paris.
Yep.
And so you bookended your podcast, Nocturnal Emotions,
Yes.
with your friend Mac. But a lot happened in the meantime.
Yeah.
Short hair, pink bike.
Ooh, short hair, pink bike. Whoa.
It was
wow,
an
that's
answer to a question. It was a new, relatively near the beginning of the series, and you were trying out a new segment.
Okay. Oh, man, short hair, pink bike.
It's a description. Someone's describing
Yeah.
themselves.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I'm like trying to think of like.
You work with this, or you have worked with this person a lot.
Wasn't Josh Tillman?
No.
I don't think I ever had. It feels like a Karen O answer, but I don't think we ever actually did an episode.
No, that will have to be for when you have to revive it to have. You've done at least 2. She's been on 2 of your songs.
Yeah, we've written a lot of stuff together.
And you wrote some music for her play?
Yeah, she's working on a new kind of like play idea that's kind of a musical, as it were. I'm going to go out to LA and kind of help her.
Oh, you're currently working on
Yeah.
music for her
I
play.
mean, it
Wow.
was a project she had started long before I got involved, and she had an idea for this concept of a story that I probably shouldn't give away.
Yeah.
But we definitely have written a bunch of music. Me and Karen and Jack Lawrence, who's in Raconteurs and Greenhorns. We went out to Sonic Ranch outside of El Paso and recorded it's a bunch of music for these 3 characters, or 4 characters, I guess, that the whole play is based around. And now we're just going to try to like do some readings and see if it's a thing that we
Nice.
that she still is passionate about, and
Yeah.
I know she is. So
Well, that's exciting.
yeah, so we're just trying to like try to see what it feels like with like the kids that we've like picked to portray the characters.
Wow.
In a room with the music and just see how cohesive it is, if it's ready to go. There was a big break because she had a kid, and it's taking a couple years to be an
Raise the
awesome
kid.
mom and
Yeah, exactly.
find a place to like get back into music.
I can't imagine a better mum than Karen O.
Oh yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. This wasn't on my list of quotes, but I do remember. I might not remember who said it, but someone said. Now I do remember that Karen. It's when she's performing. So on Nocturnal Emotions, when Karen is performing, it's like she's hosting a kids show that nobody should see and everybody should see all the time.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
That was
like some kind of like it's all very joyous, but like I think there's some like she always has this look of I think it's like I don't know if it's intentional, but it's like this artistic decision I think that comes in somewhere where there's like this like kind of look of terror.
Right.
And or
well, as she's performing.
Like somehow like blood's gonna spray out from somewhere.
Well, she's imagining what you're going to do to her in the song "Cut Me Up."
Oh yeah,
the pleasure and the pain. It's like she's never got over that.
And that was lyrically like definitely her driving that song. I was like,
I was going to ask how that, because that's a really interesting dark song.
Yeah, it's
it's got some pretty dark touches.
Yeah, it's very dark. But it's one of those things where it's like taking something very pop and making it as dark as you can at the same time, and seeing how you can get to an end point from there.
You succeeded. You got to the end point.
Yeah.
And we're nearing the end point of this first game that we're playing. Den Vidali was the person who said that about Clarinet.
Wait, what was that? What was the short hair pink bike?
That's Ellen Page.
That was
yeah.
I forgot that. I mean.
So how many episodes? So the game that you were trying out with her, which we're speaking of, which we're about to do right now.
Okay.
Was the game was called something like
Let's Get Really, Really Real.
Like I tried all these like half-baked concepts.
And the name of the game, or the nature of the game, was that the guest would describe themselves in 5-year increments that go through their life.
Okay.
And in 2 sentences.
Oh yeah, so
she
you just get kind of like the history going.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very promptly.
Yeah.
So your game is, but you're going to be subject to your game.
Okay, cool.
I don't know how many of your guests were.
I don't either. I think we did it a few times.
Yeah. Ellen had, as I say, when she was 5.
Yeah.
The description of
Short
Ellen Page. Short hair, pink bike.
Yeah.
Okay.
She had a lot going on then.
Yeah. So Sean Tillman, can you describe yourself when you were 5?
Yeah, so it's 5 words, right?
Your rule was it could be anything up to 2 sentences.
2 sentences.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ellen was economical.
Yeah, exactly. I was always wearing like really short shorts because it was the early 80s.
Yeah.
And
getting some practice in for later.
And roughhousing with hamsters while listening to Prince.
With your sister.
Yeah.
Because there's a reference to a hamster that nibbles. How is this hamster described? This is just a memory test. The whole of it.
Yeah, this one. I just woke up.
Hamster that's nibbling your fingers.
Yeah.
Because you and your
this
sister.
is like when my sister and I, we all had our separate hamsters. But she had a series of them in Fizzgig. After
that's a nice hamster name.
Yes, the character. Yeah. The weird little puffball and the dark crystal.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
So we brought one home. I think this was Fizzgig 2, and and we were playing with her, and we'd always do like a diamond shape with our legs, kind of like our feet touching, and let the hamster kind of just run around. And she kept biting our fingers, and we had no idea why. And then like 2 days later, she had a litter of little baby hamsters.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah. And we were like, I guess we were like torturing a pregnant hamster, which is terrible.
Yeah, you thought that you were providing it with a playing space.
I didn't know about the miracle of life until that happened. And I played with them like secretly in the morning and touched all of them. And then the mother ate all the babies, and so I had to keep that secret in.
Until now.
Yeah, well, no, not till now. I mean, it came up like yeah.
I thought that was
waited until like maybe like my 20s.
I thought that was a special
scoop. Sorry.
You had to keep a secret about the baby hamsters.
Yeah. I had to keep it in for so long.
So
that was a horrifying realization.
And then the hamster and the poor dead baby hamsters get immortalized in the. By that point, it's a Sean Nana song.
Oh yeah,
I think 2 of the same name.
Oh yeah, I mean that was like kind of like a wedding song for my sister like long ago. Yeah.
Nice. So it was written specifically for your sister.
Yeah.
For her wedding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And does she like Mr. Mister and Duran Duran?
Yeah, definitely. Those are like her bands. You know what I mean? Like when you have like siblings and like you have to like kind of let them, even if you like. I was a big Duran Duran fan, but like that was like her thing. So you couldn't just claim that was your favorite band because she already had the posters.
So she gets a song, and through the medium of the song, you acknowledge that those are her bands.
Yeah.
So the song is called 2 of the same name.
Yeah.
And
it was
so
kind of like trying to be clever.
Yeah, it is being clever. But then, so of course you and your sister
Yeah.
with the same last name.
Yeah,
yeah,
she's
exactly.
marrying and getting a new name. Yeah, there's all that.
There's references
levels
to her voice and how it would wake you up on
yeah.
Sunday.
She studied and was an opera singer for many years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wow. Yeah,
Kind of
exactly.
an inspiration for me to start singing. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mister, Duran Duran, that temperamental hamster that bit our hands when.
Do you still sing together?
We never really sang together.
Apart from in the Yeah Yeah Yeah's green room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Karen loves to make her sing whenever we're in. My sister lives in Boston. So,
Nice.
Yeah, Karen loves to hear her voice if we're there together. I mean, I love to hear her voice too. It's like she's married to another opera singer now, and when they sing like "Happy Birthday" to someone together, it's like
Wow.
fills the room, like almost like makes your like whole chest like vibrate. It's crazy how loud they can get.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty amazing actually.
Yeah. So even as a kid, she was waking you up with her singing.
Yeah, because I think like she would practice with my dad, and it would like be like Saturday morning at like 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, why? It's like the most beautiful sound, but you're still like, this is torturous.
Beautiful.
I have to wake up.
Torturous because it's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's a first world problem.
So I'm helping you get back into your childhood memories.
Yeah, thanks.
Ready for
I know. Let's see.
Sean Tillman,
when
you
we
were
unlock.
when you were 10.
You're gonna make me cry. Okay.
What you like when you were 10?
When I was 10, I had partially permed mullet with side spike and tinted glasses Garfield shirt. That's kind of basically what my whole personality was.
That's pretty good for a 10-year-old, I think. It's a pretty. I wouldn't put it past you that you'd be full of character as a 10-year-old, and styling a good haircut.
Yeah.
One of the games that we'll play later is Hairdo Is Enough.
Okay.
Where all of the themes that we've covered in your songs in the meantime, we return to them through statements that you make in the songs about haircuts.
Okay. All right.
So you were already thinking about haircuts when you were 10.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think that's just like, well, I guess I think I just always wanted like a partially permed mullet.
Yeah.
I can't remember who my like idol was then. I mean, I was just like kind of like into George Michael a lot. I don't know, it's just like, kind of just like all the pop stars.
Yeah, you
especially then had like the most outrageous weird hair, so you just had to do something,
I recently discovered the cover that you and Gangs did.
Oh yeah.
Of One More Try, which has always been one of my favorite George Michael songs
so
too.
Good, yeah.
Yeah. Has that song in particular meant a lot to you through the years and had an influence
It was
influence
kind of
on
like,
your own song?
it was one that kind of slid by me a little bit it's on Faith.
Yeah.
And it was like one, I'd listened to the whole album and it kind of like always like, I was always in the back of my mind, but I never knew the name of it and wasn't one that I'd like, if I was like queuing up the tape or whatever.
it's not like the pop song
Yeah,
Faith,
there's
for example.
I mean, that album's packed with so many hits too, but I think like when Gangs played the first prom, I wasn't quite yet in the band. I joined kind of that night of the show at First Avenue.
Nice.
And I went and Ryan brought me and introduced me to like half the people that are now some of my best friends. But
wow.
you know what I mean? Like it's a room full of like 30 people and I was like, whoa, this is a lot to take in.
Like all the various members of Gangs.
And I'd known a bunch from different avenues, but never really spent a lot of time. And then
so most people know what Gangs is, I suspect, but it's like Ryan Olsen is the Ryan in question.
Yeah, Ryan Olsen, Justin Vernon, Adam and Zach from Solid Gold, all the dudes in Megaphon, Ivan from the Rosebuds.
Yeah. Dessa
was on that record. Katie Morley. There are tons of people. POS. Too many to list right now. I would just take the interview. But
just invite the rest of the interview to that.
So Ryan was like, we got to do
all
this
friends,
George
basically.
Michael song one more try. And I was like, is that the one that's like Teacher? you know? And he was like, yeah, we're gonna do that. So I started like listening to it, and the next day we went out to April Base, which was Justin Vernon's studio, right? It was kind of a newer thing. And Ryan went to get his cat's haircut and left me with Justin, who I'd never hung out with before, and we got insanely stoned and recorded this thing, and it was one of the most fun times I've ever had in a studio, because we were just like messing with, you know, vocal effects, like while we were just kind of like done and waiting for Ryan to come back with a freshly shorn cat.
Come back to Sean with a freshly shorn
cat. And so yeah, we just like I've never laughed harder than like when we just like made this like bass effect happen on the voice. It's really hard to like relive or explain, but like it was like one of those times we almost passed out from laughing so hard. So it was a very good like introduction to a new friend where you're like, wow.
Who just happens to be Justin Vernon. And so you're simultaneously like having fun with your new friend and creating this really beautiful cover of there's so much heartache obviously in that song.
Yeah, I love that song. I mean, it's like, you know, it's like really hard to like, I think like the fact that the lyrics are so heavy and deep, and that we did like this like really emotional version of it was why it was so easy to like flip it and kind of like like have the most kind of like hilarious release, because you're like, what are we doing? I just met
you. covering this George Michael song with you. Wow. When I was re-listening to that, there's some kind of relation, I think, to songs of yours, like How Did I Get Through the Day? Like the level of heartache there. And like the solitary figure, like in the video to How Did I Get Through the Day, it's just you alone floating. Yeah, exactly. Is one more try a song that you've had in mind, perhaps, when in the most recent 2 records you have kind of tapped more into this heartache and the human condition and the solitary figure?
I think it was all kind of a bunch of puzzle pieces that worked together that I had no idea were kind of going that way. You know? And I think when I start to write a new album, I definitely make like a playlist of everything that I think would be something I kind of want to like emulate, and I'll listen to that for like a month or something, and then I'll stop listening to music, and then I'll just start writing it and try to kind of like go back from like the memories of the emotions, and like just even like chord progressions and things. If I try to go from memory, I'm like such a stoner that like there's no way I can like recreate something perfectly. So if I try to like rip off a song, you know, it'll end up being like this hybrid.
It will successfully
version of like whatever just came out of my brain. It'll
be
like a memory that got warped and became a different thing.
So. Well, that works out nicely. Before we get to 15, we should also work backwards, because your most recent record, Best Summer Ever, is a collection of your greatest hits from the 50s does it go into the 80s? Or the 60s?
We tried to cut it off in the mid-80s. It was just sort of like
because you didn't want too much overlap between your actual life.
Exactly.
We'll start at the beginning of your life then. So when you were a baby, in the very early 80s or the late 70s,
late 70s.
what songs did you make then?
It's hard to say which ones were like, once the concept came together for Best Summer Ever, it was like, I loved it as far as like a platform for like mixing songs in different styles and producing them differently.
Yeah.
So
and giving yourself the freedom to have that.
Yeah, and so if like there was like one song that sounded totally different than the one before it, nobody would be like, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
Which I guess nobody really does that, but if they were to, they'll say. But
exactly. It is a great kind of coherent. Like,
and that was definitely Julian like mentioned it in passing, and I was like,
So he heard this.
He heard like I gave him all these demos, and he was like, how can we make this work in a way that like is like, you know, cohesive, but also like gives him the license to be as weird and as Julian as he wants to when we get into the production.
Both of you. Can be as weird as you want to be.
Him weird. He's calling us weird, I guess.
Yeah.
But But I guess I'd say for the late 70s vibe, I'm trying to think of like all the tracks on that record right now. Probably like It Was Only Dancing was kind of probably like one of those like early 80s kind of vibes.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to make that sound like the Romancing the Stone soundtrack or something like that.
Yeah. Whenever I listen to it now, I imagine like a bar fight, because in the video you're having one.
And that's I literally wrote that song in a dream. I was trying to write a song super hard, and I was like, just like...
You weren't stoned enough.
I was stoned. I was very stoned, but I was, thinking so hard that I was like, I just laid back and like passed out for like an hour, took a nap, and I woke up with like having had this full dream, where in the dream it was I was on like a pier, kind of like Santa Monica Pier, running away from like this dance gang that was like just super pissed because I like made out with their sister or something like that.
Yeah.
And the whole song was like written, all the lyrics and like the
implausible that should have happened to you.
Yeah. And then when we were like trying to like make the video, we were kind of like, in Minnesota, trying to think of the best way to kind of recreate that dream. Like the pier was just sort of like out of the question, but then just,
the Grumpy's was very much in the question.
Yeah.
In the neighborhood, in the question.
My favorite bar. It's like by my house. They're my friends. I knew they would like
good karaoke
probably
spot.
let us film there if we sweet talked them enough. And, so I think we did our best rendition of that. And I was like, when I got John Mark to do all the choreography for the video, I was just like, make the dancing as like kind of like fruity tough as you can, like the when I say fruity tough, I mean like Michael Jackson Bad video. We're all like the bad boys are like these like, skinny like awesome looking dancers with weird like curls and
it's a great kind of pastiche, it works. It works really well. Did he choreograph our good mutual friend Nelson? Who persuaded Nelson to be but I imposed images
Nelson
here.
Devereaux.
So this is Nelson Devereaux, our friend Nelson Devereaux.
In the window.
In the window of
doing
Grumpy's.
The ultimate sax solo. I think that was we convinced him. I'm sure John Mark was like a big cheerleader with us on that one too. So we were all like, we need to get this shot of a guy in the window doing a sax solo. But for me, I kind of referenced St. Elmo's Fire. Because Rob Lowe was a sax player in
absolutely.
that movie. I was like sweaty and trying to get this club. So like,
was Nelson into it?
Back. Oh yeah.
I mean, clearly
he was wearing a fringed jacket, and really like you can just the way it falls. It was just all meant to be, I think. And Nelson is definitely like a ham.
He is.
When you give him the chance.
Yeah, exactly. When you give him the chance.
And
when you put him in the Har Mar band, that he can be.
Oh, and his new solo stuff's amazing. The band, I saw you at the show.
Exactly. The
Eagles Club.
Yeah.
He's so good. He's a natural frontman. I don't think he'd ever really sung like that in front of a crowd before. So. Because
he had that record out for a bit, but he hadn't played any shows. And
he
was organizing the show because. On tour with you, I think.
Yeah.
White Fang.
Yeah, White Fang.
And then the guys from White Fang.
They're all in the Memories together. This other band that's also amazing. So
they wanted cat sax. Nelson's band Cat Sax.
Oh yeah.
But the other members like Big Cat or Eric Mason, one of them wasn't free.
Yeah.
So Nelson almost by default decided to do his solo stuff, which is great.
And now he's playing. I love it. I can't wait for that whole record to come out. He just put out a single.
He's going to come in and do another interview about that. The interview that we did when the first record came out, we went to the MIA and we went to his favorite paintings.
Oh, I've walked around a little bit with him there because I was doing a tour. I was leading a tour for the Currents third Thursdays, I think it is. The
I think so.
They do.
I think so.
And so I was like in picking my favorite pieces, and he showed me some of his, which became some of mine.
Yeah.
And it's just a very funny because I didn't know he was even going to be there. I was just like ran into Nelson at the museum.
Wow! He's the right person to run into at the MIA.
He knows what he's talking about, man. And so the Minneapolis scene is very cross-pollinated like that. He's like at Coachella right now playing sax with Bon Iver.
Yeah, with your friend Justin.
So
Yeah. It's all just one big gang.
Yeah,
It
it
seems to be a little bit like that sometimes.
Yeah.
But
you would think that we were Mormons or something.
and he'd really thought about those works of art. There was this statue. Did he show the guy with the shield?
I
It's,
know.
like,
I
falling
don't
to
think I went to
pieces
like
and-
the. We were looking at a lot of like paintings. And the third floor corner. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
we were that was my game I was playing with him, because we were using the attributes of the paintings to think
Oh, yeah.
about the attributes of the various different projects that he's in.
There you go.
And
That's awesome.
yeah.
Did I get a piece of art in there?
I can't remember.
Or was
which-
that before
I'll
he
have to
joined the
listen
band?
back. No, he was in the band. He was,
Okay,
and
okay.
I quizzed him about said moment in the music
Oh
video
my God,
too.
Yeah. Well, he owns that.
Does he know that you have a song that is pretty critical of saxophone
Oh,
players?
no, he might. I don't know. That song was like in a phase where saxophone was being used really weirdly in rock and roll.
Yeah,
And it was
maybe
just
somewhere there's an audience that
Yeah,
likes
yeah,
the
yeah.
noise you make.
It was like in the, I guess, like late 90s,
Yeah.
early 2000s, where it was just being used all wrong. So,
But
I had a song called "I Hate Saxophones," but that was mainly
You did.
like
It's a great song.
kind of a riff on like Fear, New York's All Right if you like saxophones, sort of thing. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Trying to like take the piss out of it.
And you were yet to meet Nelson, of course.
Yeah. No, I
at
didn't,
that point. Before we move on from Nelson, we should clarify like quite how brilliant he is.
He's an amazing
Yeah.
player. Oh, it's just so just a
Yeah, I saw
all-around writer, player.
people don't play sax solos like
guy.
that.
No,
anymore.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
He and Mike Lewis, like,
Yeah.
kind of, like both
from Alpha
together
Consumer and
brought back the saxophone as like one of my favorite instruments to drop
Yeah.
into a song. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
they're both great.
Yeah. Have you been dropping saxophone into new songs since?
Well, I guess I
Most
haven't really
recent
recorded much. There's a few on the Best Summer Ever recordings,
Yeah.
and then I'm actually after this going out to April Base to record hopefully a new EP like today. Starting today, yeah.
Wow.
So we'll see. But me and Lazerbeak and BJ Burton are maybe out
brilliant.
to see what we can make and
Yeah.
so yeah. I mean that's always. I mean I love the sax is always great.
Yeah.
And on tour, we've been, because Nelson's so busy with Boney Bear, we've been, Jake Baldwin's been playing trumpet, and he's been kind of like messing with pedals. And
Yeah.
we've just been doing like a one horn kind of thing, but he's so talented as well that it's like, it's great.